Hello everyone, welcome to the Mysterious Stories channel, where you'll discover the most mysterious, scary, and fascinating stories. Make sure to turn up the volume and get ready for a spine-chilling experience you won't forget.
Hitsumkosuke, the one-eyed trickster. Among the myriad spirits of Japanese folklore, the Hitsumkosuke stands out for its peculiar mix of mischief and menace. These small, childlike beings are distinguished by their singular, oversized eye and bald heads. Though not inherently malevolent, their antics often leave humans unnerved, caught between fear and bemusement. The legend of Hitsumkosuke. Long ago, in the Edo period, tales of the Hitsumkosuke became widespread among the townsfolk. These spirits, resembling young boys dressed in simple robes, were said to appear suddenly in the dead of night, startling travelers with their single, glaring eye. They rarely caused harm, but their unexpected presence could cause fainting or panic among the unsuspecting. One famous story tells of a merchant who encountered a Hitsumkosuke while traveling through a forested path at dusk. The spirit jumped out from behind a tree, yelling, "Boo!" The merchant, startled but not entirely frightened, scolded the spirit, saying, "Why don't you help me carry my goods instead of playing tricks?" To his surprise, the Hitsumkosuke burst into laughter and vanished, leaving behind a peculiar coin as a token. The coin, though ordinary in appearance, brought the merchant unexpected fortune, leading to speculation that the spirit had a benevolent side. Encounters in the past. In traditional settings, the Hitsumkosuke was often seen as a harbinger of bad luck or a messenger from the spiritual world. Some believed that encountering one meant you needed to reevaluate your life or face an impending challenge. Farmers often told stories of seeing the one-eyed spirit during harvest season, especially if they had neglected offerings to local deities. The Hitsumkosuke would appear in their fields, disrupting their work by stealing tools or rearranging crops. These encounters served as cautionary tales about respecting spiritual customs and staying vigilant. Modern sightings and superstitions. In contemporary Japan, the Hitsumkosuke has evolved into an almost playful figure in urban legends. Children often recount stories of a one-eyed figure peeking into classrooms or appearing briefly in alleyways before disappearing with a giggle. While these sightings are often dismissed as figments of imagination, they still carry an eerie charm. Some families place charms or talismans near doors and windows, believing these will deter mischievous spirits, including the Hitsumkosuke. In rural areas, older generations share tales of the spirit visiting homes where respect for traditions has waned. If household shrines are neglected or seasonal rituals forgotten, a Hitsumkosuke might knock over furniture or hide small items as a gentle reminder. Why Hitsumkosuke indoors? For Western audiences, the Hitsumkosuke offers a unique blend of the eerie and the endearing. Its childlike form contrasts sharply with its unsettling single eye, creating an uncanny image that lingers in the imagination. The spirit's harmless yet disruptive nature taps into universal fears of the unknown while providing a touch of humor. In Japanese culture, the Hitsumkosuke represents the blurred line between playfulness and danger, a recurring theme in many folktales. Its stories continue to entertain and educate, reminding people of the importance of tradition, respect for the spiritual world, and a good sense of humor in the face of the unexpected. Joragumo, the lore of the spider woman. Long ago, nestled in the dense forests of Japan, there was a quiet village near a sparkling waterfall. The villagers whispered tales about the cascade, a place of beauty but also danger. It was said that men who wandered too close never returned, lured by the beguiling spirit known as Joragumo, the spider woman. The legend described her as a breathtakingly beautiful woman with flowing black hair and an enchanting smile. But beneath her alluring facade lay her true form, a monstrous spider with legs as thick as tree trunks and fangs that dripped with venom. She would weave her web of charm to ensnare lonely travelers, dragging them to her lair where she consumed them, leaving no trace. A fateful meeting. Taro, a young fisherman from the nearby village, often visited the waterfall to catch the freshest fish. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow on the water, Taro heard a soft melody. It wasn't the sound of the cascading water but a woman singing, a voice so delicate and sweet it seemed to pull at his soul. Curious, Taro followed the sound. There, sitting on a rock near the edge of the waterfall, was the most stunning woman he had ever seen. She wore a vibrant kimono adorned with patterns of spider lila, her dark eyes shimmering with mystery. "You must be tired from your work," she said, her voice like silk. "Come, sit with me." Taro hesitated, the tales of Jorigumo brushing against the edge of his mind. But her smile was so warm, her presence so inviting, that he found himself stepping closer. He webbed Titans. The woman spoke of the forest, her voice weaving a tapestry of stories that mesmerized Taro. He felt himself drawn to her, unable to pull away despite the gnawing unease in his chest. The sun disappeared entirely, and the forest grew quiet, save for the rhythmic rush of the waterfall. As Taro gazed at her, something in her expression shifted. Her smile widened unnaturally, and her eyes glimmered with a predatory light. He took a step back, but it was too late. A thread of silk shot from her sleeve, wrapping around his ankle like a serpent. Taro gasped as the illusion shattered. The beautiful woman's lower body began to transform, her kimono ripping away to reveal long, spindly spider legs. Her fingers elongated, turning into sharp, claw-like appendages. Taro's heart pounded as he realized he was face to face with Jorigumo. "You shouldn't have come here," she hissed, her voice now a chilling echo. "But since you have, you'll stay forever." Summoning all his strength, Taro broke free of the silken thread and bolted toward the village. Behind him, he heard the skittering of spider legs on the rocks and her haunting laughter echoing through the trees. When Taro reached the safety of the village, he told the elders what he had seen. They nodded gravely, confirming the truth of the old tales. The villagers vowed to avoid the waterfall at all costs, leaving offerings at its edge to appease the spider woman and keep her wrath at bay. In contemporary Japan, Jorigumo has evolved from a rural legend to a cultural symbol, appearing in artwork, literature, and even urban legends. Visitors to old forested shrines and waterfalls occasionally report strange occurrences, a haunting melody, or the feeling of being watched. While sightings are rare, the fear of betrayal and seduction embodied by Jorigumo remains potent, making her a lasting figure in Japan's rich tapestry of folklore. No Parabi, the empty face in the night. In the stillness of the night, when shadows stretch unnaturally and the air carries an unsettling chill, the No Parabi, the faceless ghost, lurks in wait. Known for its eerie appearance and penchant for trickery, this spirit has haunted Japan's folklore for centuries. The No Parabi appears as an ordinary human at first. But as the unwitting victim grows comfortable, it reveals its terrifying secret, its face, smooth and featureless as polished stone, devoid of eyes, nose, or mouth. This revelation is often enough to send even the bravest soul fleeing into the dark. A tale from the Edo period. During the Edo period, tales of the No Parabi circulated widely, warning travelers to be wary of lone figures at night. One such tale recounts the story of a fisherman named Hiroshi, who ventured to the Koiwa River to poach fish despite warnings of a haunting in the area. As Hiroshi cast his net, a lone woman approached him, her face obscured by a wide-brimmed hat. "You shouldn't be here," she said softly, her voice trembling. Hiroshi scoffed. "Mind your own business." The woman hesitated, then slowly lifted her hat. Her face was gone a smooth, pale void. Hiroshi's net fell from his hands as he stumbled backward, his screams echoing through the empty riverbank. He fled to the nearest village, recounting his ordeal with shaking hands. The villagers nodded gravely, their faces pale. "The No Parabi appears to those who defy warnings," they said. "Hiroshi never returned to the river." Modern encounters. While stories of the No Parabi originated in rural Japan, sightings have persisted even in modern urban settings. Late-night commuters in Tokyo have reported strange encounters on empty subway cars. A seemingly ordinary passenger seated across from them might turn their head only to reveal a featureless face. In one chilling account, a salaryman returning home late saw a young man leaning against a lamppost, his head bowed. Concerned, he approached, asking if the man was okay. The stranger looked up, revealing a blank face. The salaryman stumbled backward, his briefcase clattering to the pavement, as the faceless figure faded into the shadows. The allure of the faceless ghost, the No Parabi's simplicity, is what makes it so terrifying. The absence of features taps into primal fears of the unknown and the unnatural. It is a physical embodiment of emptiness, forcing those who encounter it to confront their own discomfort with ambiguity and anonymity. This ghost remains a staple of Japanese folklore, its legacy enduring in stories, films, and even urban legends. It serves as a cautionary tale about respecting boundaries, be they physical, moral, or supernatural, and reminds us that sometimes what we don't see is far scarier than what we do. Nararian, the master of silent intrusion. In the rich tapestry of Japanese folklore, Nararian stands out not as a ferocious beast or a vengeful spirit, but as a peculiar, enigmatic figure whose presence exudes an eerie discomfort. Known as the master of silent intrusion, Nararian is a Kai supernatural being who sneaks into human homes, blending seamlessly with the household as if he belongs there. His unsettling ability to take over spaces without confrontation makes him a haunting metaphor for unseen threats and uninvited authority. The legend of Nararian. In the past, Nararian first gained prominence during the Edo period 1603 to 1868, appearing in paintings, woodblock prints, and folklore collections. He is typically depicted as a small, elderly figure with a distinctive gourd-shaped head and an air of self-assured calm. Unlike many Ikai who terrorize their victims openly, Nararian's method is insidious and subtle. In traditional tales, Nararian would enter homes during the evening when the household was busy or distracted. He would seat himself in the main room, drinking tea, giving orders to servants, or acting as though he owned the place. His demeanor was so confident and unbothered that the real owners often mistook him for a legitimate guest or relative, only realizing something was amiss when he vanished, leaving behind a lingering sense of unease. Nararian's invasions were rarely violent. Instead, they represented a disruption of harmony and an inversion of societal norms. His presence symbolized the fear of losing control over one's domain to an intruder who exuded authority without rightful claim. Modern encounters and interpretations. In modern Japan, Nararian's legend has evolved, but his unsettling essence remains intact. He is often associated with subtle forms of chaos, such as unexplained misplacements of items, mysterious footsteps, or an uncanny sense of being watched at home. While direct encounters with Nararian are rare in urban legends, his influence persists in the collective fear of invasive presences. Urban folklore occasionally recounts stories of individuals returning home to find their living spaces disturbed, chairs moved, food partially eaten, or unfamiliar scents lingering in the air. These tales are often attributed to Nararian, who is believed to exploit moments of distraction to assert his silent dominion. Nararian has also become a prominent figure in Japanese popular culture. From literature to anime, he is often portrayed as a cunning and charismatic leader of Yokai clans, commanding respect and fear among both his supernatural peers and human audiences. This modern reinterpretation highlights his intelligence and mystique, elevating him from a mere home invader to a symbol of hidden power and quiet dominance. Cultural significance and appeal. For Western audiences, Nararian's legend resonates due to its themes of intrusion and the fear of losing control over personal spaces. His calm and calculated invasions represent a unique type of horror, one that is psychological rather than physical. Unlike monstrous Yokai that attack openly, Nararian's menace lies in his ability to undermine security through subtlety and poise. In Japan, Nararian embodies the concept of abiki, or uninvited intrusion, which challenges the sanctity of the home as a safe haven. His legend reminds people to remain vigilant and aware, even in the most familiar of spaces. This duality of elegance and unease makes him a captivating figure, both in folklore and in modern storytelling. Why Nararian endures? Nararian's story continues to captivate because it taps into primal fears, the invasion of privacy, the loss of control, and the unsettling realization that danger doesn't always announce itself. His legacy as a master of silent intrusion challenges audiences to confront the unexpected, turning everyday spaces into potential sites of discomfort. Oni, the demon's wrath. In the heart of Japanese folklore lies the tale of the Oni, towering ogre-like demons with crimson or indigo skin, sharp horns, and a fearsome visage. Wielding spiked clubs called kanabo, they embody chaos and destruction, often terrorizing the lands they roam. For centuries, Their legends have served as both a warning and a reflection of humanity's darker fears. The legend of the Oni. Long ago, a small village nestled in the shadow of Mount Hiei became the hunting ground of a fearsome Oni. The demon, named Shudendoji, was infamous for abducting villagers, particularly young women, to his mountain lair. He and his band of Oni indulged in grotesque feasts, consuming their captives and spreading terror across the region. The villagers, desperate to end his reign, sought help from the legendary samurai Minamoto no Reiko. Disguising himself and his warriors as wandering monks, Reiko approached the mountain fortress with offerings of sake and prayers. Shudendoji, intrigued by the strangers, welcomed them to his lair. As the Oni drank the sake, which Reiko had secretly laced with a powerful sleeping draught, the demon grew sluggish. Once he and his followers were incapacitated, Reiko and his men revealed their true identities and struck down the Oni in a brutal battle. Shudenji's severed head, still alive and snapping, was buried deep within the mountain to prevent his return. Encounters with Oni in the past. Stories of Oni often mirrored the fears of ancient communities. They were blamed for natural disasters, disease, and famine, with their presence symbolizing the chaos that humans could not control. Villagers would perform rituals, such as the Setsubin festival, to ward off Oni and invite good fortune. During this festival, people throw roasted soybeans while chanting Oni Washington Sodo. Fuku Washington Uchi, demons out, fortune in. The act represents driving away malevolent spirits and remains a beloved tradition to this day. Modern sightings and urban legends. Even in modern Japan, the Oni legend has evolved, appearing in urban myths and pop culture. Travelers venturing into remote mountainous areas occasionally report eerie experiences, deep growls echoing through the forests, massive footprints imprinted in the earth, and sightings of shadowy figures towering among the trees. While skeptics attribute these encounters to wild animals or overactive imaginations, locals often warn against dismissing the Oni's presence too lightly. In urban settings, tales of Oni have shifted to fit contemporary fears. One story tells of a man who, after disrespecting a shrine in Kyoto, began experiencing strange occurrences and unexplained bruises, the sound of heavy footsteps following him, and recurring nightmares of a horned figure. After seeking the guidance of a Shinto priest, he performed a purification ritual, which finally ended his torment. Why Oni endure? The Oni resonates deeply with Western audiences due to its similarities to demons and ogres in European folklore. Their raw strength and destructive power, combined with their cunning and often dark humor, make them compelling antagonists in stories. Yet, Oni also serve as cautionary figures, reminding people of the consequences of greed, pride, and disrespect for the natural and spiritual world. Their enduring presence in festivals, literature, and media continues to evolve, capturing the imagination of audiences around the world. As symbols of both fear and fascination, Oni remain towering figures in the landscape of Japanese mythology. Rokurokubi, the Night Stalker. In the quiet villages of ancient Japan, lanterns flickered as people gathered around hearths, sharing stories to keep the darkness at bay. One of the most chilling tales whispered from mouth to mouth was that of the Rokurokubi, a woman whose neck could stretch impossibly long at night, prowling for unsuspecting prey. By day, she appeared as an ordinary woman, a wife, a servant, or a neighbor, but by night, her transformation began. Her neck would elongate, snaking through the air, her head floating eerily as she spied on the living, frightened them for sport, or fed on their life force. The tale of Akiko. In a village nestled among the mountains, there lived a kind-hearted woman named Akiko. She worked as a maid for a wealthy merchant, her gentle demeanor making her beloved by the household. But Akiko harbored the terrible secret one she couldn't control. By day, she was just like everyone else, attending to chores with a quiet grace. But when the mood rose, an insatiable urge consumed her. As she lay in bed, her body remained still, but her neck stretched, lifting her head high above the rooftops. Akiko's nocturnal wanderings were harmless at first. She peered into windows, watching villagers as they slept, curious and detached. But one fateful night, she was overcome with hunger. A flickering lantern revealed a man sitting alone, and she felt an overwhelming need to feed. Her shadow appeared at his window, grotesquely elongated, her head floating unnaturally as she hissed through the open frame. The man screamed, and Akiko recoiled, her humanity briefly overpowering her monstrous instincts. She fled into the night, her neck retracting as dawn broke. The man recounted his ordeal to the village elders, describing the horrifying vision of a floating head with eyes like glowing embers. Rumors spread like wildfire, and the villagers grew suspicious. Akiko, unable to hide the strain her double life was taking, began to arouse curiosity. Her exhaustion during the day and her avoidance of others at night painted a damning picture. One night, the merchant's family decided to test the rumors. They pretended to sleep while keeping a vigilant watch. As the moon climbed the sky, they witnessed Akiko's neck extending, her head drifting like a ghostly specter through the darkened halls. Terrified and betrayed, they confronted her the next morning. Akiko fell to her knees, begging for mercy. "I never meant to harm anyone," she wept, "but this curse binds me." The family, fearing retribution from the spirit world, banished her from the village. Though tales of Rokurokubi originated in ancient Japan, their eerie presence persists in modern urban legends. Sightings are rare but not unheard of. Night watchmen and late-night commuters occasionally report glimpses of floating heads or unnaturally stretched shadows in abandoned buildings or secluded alleys. Rokurokubi's story has evolved to symbolize hidden secrets and the fear of being exposed for who we truly are. It reflects the tension between societal expectations and personal struggles, making it resonate with audiences far beyond Japan. Shirim, the ghost of unnerving humor. Among Japan's vast pantheon of yokai, few are as bizarre or as memorable as Shirim, the ghost whose defining feature is an eyeball located on its buttocks. While Shirim's antics might provoke laughter at first glance, this yokai represents a unique blend of the unsettling and the absurd, a hallmark of Japanese folklore. The legend of Shirim in the past. The story of Shirim dates back to the Edo period, a time when bizarre and humorous tales often accompanied more serious ghost stories. The most famous tale involves a lone samurai traveling a deserted road at twilight. A mysterious figure appears and calls out, stopping the samurai in his tracks. Before the samurai can react, the figure drops his kimono, revealing not a horrifying wound or grotesque deformity but a single, glowing eyeball where his buttocks should be. The samurai, startled and unnerved, flees into the night, while Shirim simply disappears, seemingly satisfied with the scare. Unlike malicious yokai that seek to harm or kill, Shirim appears to revel in harmless pranks. Its intent isn't to cause lasting damage but to unnerve, bewilder, and amuse. Shirim's antics have been interpreted as a form of mujir, a Buddhist concept emphasizing the impermanence and unpredictability of life. By confronting people with the unexpected, Shirim serves as a reminder not to take life or the self too seriously. Modern encounters and interpretations. While tales of Shirim sightings have faded from popular belief, the ghost lives on as a cultural curiosity in modern Japan. Its story has been immortalized in art and literature, where it often serves as a humorous counterpoint to the more fearsome yokai. Shirim has even found a place in modern pop culture, appearing in manga, anime, and quirky merchandise that celebrates Japan's rich folklore. In contemporary urban legends, Shirim is rarely seen but occasionally linked to unexplained phenomena that leave people feeling foolish or confused, like sudden noises in empty rooms, inexplicable chills, or finding themselves in humorous yet embarrassing situations. These anecdotes reflect Shirim's enduring legacy as a playful disruptor of the ordinary. For some, Shirim also symbolizes the human fear of embarrassment or vulnerability. By presenting such an absurd spectacle, it confronts its audience with the discomfort of the unexpected in a way that's both surreal and strangely relatable. Cultural significance and appeal. To Western audiences, Shirim's tale stands out due to its sheer oddity. The image of a ghost with an eyeball for a butt defies conventional expectations of horror, blending comedy with the grotesque. This unique approach to storytelling challenges what it means to be scary, proving that fear and humor can coexist in unexpected ways. In Japan, Shirim's story reflects the playful side of yokai lore, where not all spirits are menacing or tragic. Shirim's harmless pranks align with the cultural appreciation for humor and the acknowledgement of life's absurdities. Its story serves as a reminder to embrace the unexpected, even when it comes from the strangest of places. Why Shirim endures? Shirim's legend endures because it offers something different from the usual fare of ghostly vengeance and terror. Its absurdity makes it memorable, while its harmless nature provides a refreshing break from darker tales. Shirim is a testament to the creative storytelling of Japanese folklore, where even the strangest of ideas can find a place and leave a lasting impression. Tengu, the mystical guardians of the mountains. Among Japan's most iconic and complex yokai, the Tengu stand out as enigmatic figures that straddle the line between protector and peril. Known for their long noses, avian features, and mastery of supernatural powers, Tengu are deeply rooted in Japanese folklore, embodying both the dangers and the wisdom of the natural world. The origins of Tengu. The Tengu legend traces its roots back over 1,000 years, evolving from early depictions in Buddhist texts. Initially feared as malevolent spirits, Tengu were thought to disrupt monks' meditations and lead them astray. These early representations depicted Tengu as bird-like creatures, often with wings and beaks, emphasizing their connection to the wild and untamed aspects of nature. By the Edo period, the image of the Tengu had shifted, merging avian features with human traits. The long-nosed Tengu, or Daitengu, emerged as a symbol of wisdom and martial skill, often seen wielding magical fans and swords. They became protectors of mountain shrines and skilled martial artists, occasionally testing or aiding those who ventured into their domain. Encounters with Tengu in the past. In ancient times, Tengu were both feared and revered. Folklore tells of travelers wandering through dense mountain forests, only to encounter mysterious figures with piercing eyes and elongated noses. Some were tested in riddles or martial combat, while others were taught secret techniques in exchange for humility or dedication. Tengu were also said to play tricks on arrogant samurai or greedy merchants, humbling them with illusions or leading them astray. Despite their trickster tendencies, they were known to protect sacred spaces and punish those who desecrated nature or spiritual sites. One famous tale recounts a young samurai who, after losing his family's honor, sought solace in the mountains. A Tengu appeared, offering rigorous training in both body and spirit. After years of hardship, the samurai returned to restore his family's name, attributing his success to the wisdom of the Tengu. Modern-day sightings and interpretations. In contemporary Japan, Tengu continue to hold a significant place in cultural consciousness. Though direct encounters with Tengu are rare in modern legends, their presence lingers in symbolic forms. Statues of Tengu guard temples and shrines, particularly in mountainous regions, where their protective role is celebrated. Visitors to places like Mount Takao near Tokyo often leave offerings to Tengu statues, seeking blessings for safe travels or success in personal endeavors. Urban legends occasionally adapt the Tengu for modern settings. Stories of mysterious mountain encounters or unexplainable gusts of wind disrupting hikers are sometimes attributed to the mischievous spirits. Tengu's reputation as tricksters remains, though their role as protectors is equally honored. Cultural significance and Western appeal. To Western audiences, Tengu evoke a sense of mystery and power akin to the wise hermits or demigods of European and American folklore. Their blend of human traits, avian features, and magical abilities makes them both visually striking and narratively compelling. Their dual nature as both protectors and tempters resonates with universal themes of moral ambiguity and the interplay of light and shadow. In Japan, Tengu are celebrated as symbols of resilience, discipline, and the balance between human ambition and humility. Their connection to nature and sacred spaces reflects a cultural reverence for the environment and spiritual practice, making them enduring figures in both traditional and modern contexts. Why Tengu endure? The Tengu's lasting legacy lies in their versatility as characters. Whether testing the prideful, training the humble, or protecting the sacred, they offer a rich tapestry of stories that continue to inspire awe and curiosity. Their evolution from malevolent spirits to wise guardians mirrors humanity's own journey toward understanding and harmony with the world around us. Yubyum Chapter 1: The Spirit of a Mother's Love and Grief. In Japanese folklore, the yubyum is a poignant and chilling figure, a ghostly mother who died during childbirth or shortly after, leaving her child behind in the mortal world. Her spirit is tethered by love, grief, and an overwhelming need to care for her offspring, even from beyond the grave. The Yubyum is both a tragic and terrifying figure, embodying the universal themes of sacrifice, maternal instinct, and unresolved sorrow. The origin of the Yubyum legend. The first tales of Yubyum appeared during the Heian period 79–1185, rooted in Buddhist beliefs and the reverence for familial bonds in Japanese culture. These spirits are often depicted as pale, sorrowful women, their spectral forms carrying infants swaddled in white cloth. They roam the mortal realm, desperately seeking assistance to ensure their child's safety. One enduring story tells of a traveler who encounters a pale woman in tattered robes on a lonely road. She hands him a baby, begging him to take care of the child. As the traveler agrees, the woman vanishes into the mist. When he looks down, the baby has transformed into a heavy stone or bundle of leaves, leaving him bewildered and frightened. The story reflects the intense grief of a mother's unfulfilled duty and her struggle to protect her child, even after death. Encounters in the past. During Japan's feudal era, villagers shared tales of Yubyum appearing near rivers, bridges, or abandoned past places symbolizing transitions between worlds. She was often seen cradling a crying infant or offering a bundle for passers-by to hold. If the passerby refused or reacted with hostility, they risked misfortune, illness, or even death. Those who accepted her request with compassion were sometimes rewarded. In one story, a fisherman who agreed to care for an Yubyum's child found his nets unusually full the next day, as if the spirit had blessed him in gratitude. In some variations, the Yubyum would guide lost travelers to safety, provided they showed kindness to her and her child. This dual nature of benevolence and danger made her a figure to be both feared and respected. Modern sightings and interpretations. In modern times, Yubyum remains a potent symbol of maternal devotion and unresolved loss. Urban legends occasionally recount stories of women who appear on quiet streets at night, clutching bundles and crying for help. Taxi drivers in rural areas tell of passengers who vanish, leaving behind a faint cry of an infant. Yubyum has also found a place in contemporary Japanese media, from horror films to manga. Her character often explores themes of sacrifice, guilt, and the enduring bonds between a mother and child. For Western audiences, the emotional depth of her story resonates deeply, elevating her from a mere ghostly apparition to a profoundly human figure trapped by tragic circumstances. Why Yubyum endures. The appeal of the Yubyum lies in her ability to evoke empathy alongside fear. Her narrative of undying maternal love transcends cultural boundaries, offering a deeply emotional layer to her haunting presence. For many, she represents the universal human fear of failing loved ones and the lengths one might go to protect family. Her enduring presence in Japanese folklore and modern storytelling serves as a reminder of the sacrifices mothers make and the lingering power of love, even in death. The Yubyum, though rooted in fear, ultimately reflects the strength and vulnerability of the human spirit. Yuki-onna, the Frost Maiden's gaze. On cold, moonlit nights when the snow blankets the world in a silvery stillness, the Yuki-onna, or Snow Woman, emerges from the wintry haze. A spirit of breathtaking beauty and lethal cold, she haunts Japan's snowbound regions, her ethereal presence woven into the country's folklore for centuries. The legend of Yuki-onna. Long ago, in a remote mountain village, there lived a woodcutter named Minakichi and his apprentice, Mosaku. One winter's night, as a fierce blizzard howled through the forest, the two sought refuge in a small, abandoned hut. As they huddled together for warmth, a bone-chilling silence fell over the storm. In the dead of night, Minakichi awoke to find a figure standing over Mosaku. She was impossibly beautiful, her long black hair cascading like a river of ink over a white kimono. Her pale skin shimmered in the moonlight, but her eyes held an icy glint. The woman exhaled a cold mist that enveloped Mosaku, freezing him solid. When she turned to Minakichi, she hesitated. "You are young and kind," she whispered. "I will spare your life, but you must never speak of me to anyone. If you do, I will return." Minakichi nodded, too terrified to move, and the Yuki-onna disappeared into the storm. The next morning, he found Mosaku frozen to death, his face locked in a final expression of terror. Minakichi returned to the village, carrying the memory of that night with him, but keeping silent, as the Yuki-onna had commanded. Years later, Minakichi met a beautiful woman named Oyuki. They married and had children, and she brought warmth to his life despite the cold winters. One evening, overcome with the memory of his past encounter, he told Oyuki about the snow woman who had spared his life. As he spoke, Oyuki's face grew pale and distant. "You promised never to tell," she said, her voice like the wind through the trees. Tears glistened in her eyes as her form began to fade. "I am the Yuki-onna. I spared you because I loved you. But now, I must go." Before Minakishi could beg for forgiveness, she vanished, leaving behind only the sound of the falling snow. Modern encounters. The legend of Yuki-onna persists even in modern times. Hikers and skiers in Japan's snowy regions have reported sightings of a ghostly woman in white wandering through the snowdrifts. Those who follow her trail often disappear, their frozen bodies discovered days later. In one eerie account, a group of travelers stranded in a mountain lodge during a snowstorm claimed to see a woman standing outside, her kimono billowing in the wind. Despite the sub-zero temperatures, she seemed unaffected by the cold. When one traveler attempted to approach her, the others pulled him back, warning him of the legend. By morning, her footprints had vanished, leaving no trace she had ever been there. The allure of the Yuki-onna. Yuki-onna's beauty and sadness make her one of Japan's most compelling spirits. She embodies the duality of nature, both its serene, breathtaking beauty and its unforgiving, deadly power. Her legend resonates with themes of love, betrayal, and the unyielding grip of nature's forces. Her story has inspired countless retellings in literature, film, and art, captivating audiences with her tragic mystique. In every whisper of the wind and every snowflake that touches the skin, the Yuki-onna's presence lingers, a chilling reminder of the beauty and danger of winter.
If you enjoyed today's story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Mystical Tales, so you won't miss out on more eerie and thrilling tales in the future. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.